Hey everyone, I'm Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Her podcast. We are joined with Malaysia Harrell, an award winning entrepreneur, CEO, author, key speaker, and also a proud veteran. With over 30 years of experience in a mental health, behavioral health, Malaysia is also a licensed psychotherapist, spiritual transformation coach, and also founder of Blissful Life Consulting, and the Malaysia Harrell Foundation. Her mission is to help women heal, rise, and align with their true purpose. I would like to welcome you guys, Malaysia. Hey, girl.
Hey, Yvette, thank you so much for hosting me on your amazing show today. I'm just so blessed to be here. And I'm so excited. We've already started talking. So I'm like, oh, they're going to be in for a treat today.
Oh my God, tell me about it. I
Yeah.
am too excited. So, Malaysia, you have worn many hats: psychotherapist, veteran, entrepreneur, and now spiritual transformation coach. How do you personally describe who you are and a mission behind your work?
I describe myself as a person that was essentially sent here to support other people, through their trauma, through their transitions and transformations. Because I experienced so much on the professional and the personal side, I have the clinical acumen, but also the perfect the experiential, so the real life experience of being able to overcome. So what I do is I'm able to really also model, not just use my clinical expertise, but actually be a role model for people who are looking to transform their lives, who know that there is something more for them, or there is a calling that they have that they've been putting to the side because they believe that they need to do whatever they're doing now to make money so that they could survive. But I'm here to tell people, when you're in alignment with your divine assignment, you may not see the whole staircase. But just like Dr. Martin Luther King said, Junior, that you need to take the first step. You don't need to see the whole staircase. So that is how I align with my personal and professional life with my clients as well.
That is amazing. So, what aligned you to actually pursue this? What things transpired in your life for you to get the strength and know this was your exact calling?
Well, that's interesting because, in 2019, I got promoted. I was in active duty, and I was in for 16 years, and I got promoted to captain slash colonel. So it depends on what service that you're in. But for Navy ranks, I was, one of the top levels that most people don't ever achieve. And when I made the rank, I immediately that day I said, "Oh my goodness, I have to call my Nana." Now, my Nana is who raised me, right? Because as a child, I was actually removed from my mom's home due to a lot of trauma and things that happened. And she raised me, and I realized that she wasn't here.
Oh,
And she was the person that really encouraged me through life. And I had learned to wear this mask, and the mask of success, what society deems as success. And I did that because I didn't have, that love that I needed and that nurturing that I needed as a child. And so when she wasn't there, I started questioning, like, oh my goodness, what's next? Like, and I'm already thinking, okay, I want to make Admiral, I want to do all these things. But inside, it felt really empty. I have my husband, I have my dad, I have, my sisters, I have people who do encourage me. But when my Nana wasn't there, I started to really think about things like, why am I really doing what I'm doing? I know I was put here to be a person of service. I knew I wanted to be a leader. And that, I think, started. Listen, here's the thing. Don't ask God for answers of questions that you're not prepared for the answer. I just want to put that out there for the world.
it's the truth, though.
I started questioning. I got everything, right? The house, the cars, the husband. I have all the things that society says,
Yes.
we need to have. but I'm so empty inside. Like I'm swallowed up by everything else and giving to everybody else. And so then let's fast forward to 2020. That was not 2019, the height of COVID. The world shifted, the world changed. And so I was deployed out to the Navajo Nation, to one of the most desolate areas. And there I started to feel another shift.
Ooh.
And it was a shift of darkness. It was questions that were coming up because when I got there, of course, they sent me to be the lead mental health person for the incident command response team and for all the medical providers at 2 medical centers. And I'm listening to their stories, Yvette, and I'm like, what am I going to teach you about mental health? What am I going to teach you about resilience? You know what I mean? It was almost like the mask started to come off because you be to even welcome into their territory. You can't come in there with all that, you know, and they knew my rank. And there were people who were like, I want you to go back to DC. I want you to tell the people what's going on here. And I was just like, what is really going on? And the death toll was so high. It was a lot. So after I got home, I was like, okay, this was traumatic. The experience was actually traumatic. And I started working out, you know, because I know what to do. I bodybuild. I've done a lot of races. And so one night I got up and I couldn't walk.
Ooh.
I couldn't walk. I was having such extreme pain in my left hip. And so again, I'm this strong woman. I can do it. I got this. I didn't even wake my husband up. I crawled to the bathroom myself. Like I'm tough. And so I'm in the bathroom. Of course, I can't get off the floor and I'm crying on the middle of the bathroom floor. And my husband hears me and he comes back and he's like, Malaysia, what's wrong? He picks me up and I'm like, babe, I'm in extreme pain. I can't walk. So anyway, he helps me. We go back to bed. And again, I know how to take care of it. Let me get some Tiger Balm. Let me get the heat pad. Let me get I know what to do. Again, still, that's how I've been trained. Right. And so we went to the hospital a couple of times. Ambulance came. They brought me to some medical center, give you, you know, they do the x-ray. They give you morphine and send you home. Nothing's wrong. Okay. So you tell me nothing's wrong. Okay. And then I'm going to try to do this. So anyways, one day it was so bad. And I knew there was a spiritual awakening to the point where I knew I was transitioning. But had I told people that, they would have put me in the, you know, psych ward. I already know because I'm a mental health provider. I know how this works. And because you're telling me everything else is fine. So my husband's like, we're going to the military hospital. So we went to Walter Reed. We went to Andrews Air Force Base. That's actually where I started my career as a social worker in their residency program. So it was kind of nostalgic. They sent me to Walter Reed Medical Center. That's the premier medical center for military medicine. And, you know, that's where they treat the president of the United States. So of course they're going to take care of me. So I'm there for 4 days and it was like a medical anomaly. They couldn't figure out what was going on. They had all these students and residents coming in, like a room filled with people. Like it looked like a scene on one of these shows, you know, on TV. You know, I thought about the House show, you know, the House or whatever, when they tried to figure it out. And so anyways, after 4 days, the doctor came in and said, Captain Harrell, we can't find anything. We're sending you home today. And also because you just came back from deployment, we're going to send in the psychiatrist to do an evaluation on you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I said, is this a somatic symptom? I'm imagining this. Like I said, you could euthanize me because you wouldn't be able to deal with the pain. So long story short, I advocated. I said, bring the psychiatrist in. Like we're talking like we're medical colleagues at this point. Because again, I can't even be a patient right now because I know you're going to send me to the psych ward. And I know that if you do, I'm going to die. So I talked to him and everything. They ended up doing a sample of my hip. They are coming back, running in the room. Everybody coming in. We got to get her to surgery right away. I had sepsis.
Oh, wow.
I had sepsis. And so for those of you who don't know about sepsis, it is basically a serious bacterial infection that it starts to shut down all your organs. And once it hits those organs and you shut down, like people normally, a lot of people don't make it. And what I've learned in my own research after having it is that, there are people who have lost limbs. There are people who can no longer take care of themselves, people who've been in a coma for several months. So you know your body better than anyone else. It doesn't matter what you say. Spiritually, when you're sat down, you're going to be able to get downloads. And so, again, I knew I was transitioning out. So I ultimately had a near-death experience. And that's what basically changed the trajectory of my life. Because now I decided, I couldn't get out of that. I ended up with all these medical conditions. I had 9 surgeries over the past 5 years. I had oral chemo. I was up to 254 pounds. So I had another, serious medical condition as well, one that Bernie Mac died of. And it taught me a lot, but I actually had to surrender. And when God told me what the play was, then I had to be obedient to that. And every time I step out of it, Yvette, that's when I start to really struggle. Anytime I'm out of it. So even being here with you today, this is part of it.
Right.
The days that I try to just hide and not, use my voice to let other people know that even if the people around you don't believe you, even if you feel like you can't get through that dark tunnel, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I stand here before all of you today to say that it is by the grace of God that
Yes.
I'm here today.
Yes, definitely. And even with you going through this experience and the experience that you went through from you finding out and trying to figure out what you have, it's just God shifting you to have the strength to be able to help other people learn how to get through different traumatic and pain and darkness,
Yes.
loneliness. It's just so many other experiences. And it's like, who is a better person
Thank you.
besides you? And some people don't realize that, he may shift us in ways that we don't like, but he's shifting us in ways to help his children.
That's right. That's right. Because you're like, wait a minute, I had a check. I had a good check. What you mean? I was fighting.
Wow.
For me to act like, oh, it was like, okay, I surrender. That song, I
Yeah.
surrender. No, it wasn't that. I want to stay active duty. I want to, I have a plan. And I'm telling God, like, we said we want to make Admiral. We said, and God's like, I didn't say that. You said that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always things that we just least expect. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
we have to learn how to accept it and
Yes.
watch the blessings flow in a different
Yes.
form. Yeah.
You feel it to even say that, like the blessings flow. And then you're like, okay, I don't have to worry about, how I'm going to get paid or how I'm going to get income. Things will just come to you and they will come and flow. And that's when you know it's of God, because you didn't try to control it. You didn't make it happen. It happened and you didn't know how it's going to happen. So every day can actually be a present, a gift, to you. But you have to be open to experiencing what those are and concentrating on the things that are blessings, and, have that level of gratitude, because when you focus on the negative stuff, then you won't even see it. You have so many things that's in front of you,
That's
Yeah.
so true. That is so
Mhm.
true. So, with you going through this experience in your adulthood, you also overcame a lot in your childhood trauma,
Mhm.
and illness has shaped you to serve others.
Mhm.
How did you overcome so much? And when you already dealt with something, did you feel like God was punishing you, or did you feel like, I guess this is another chapter in my life where I have to use my abilities to serve others?
Well, it's interesting that you framed it that way, because the childhood trauma I had boxed up so nicely in a closet. They were, labeled, shifted in the back. Nobody knew. No one knew what I went through. The people who grew up with me or, my closest friends and family may know, but no one actually knew what happened. And it's almost like I put it in the back of my mind. I put it in the back, and to the point where it was like buried. And I tried to mask it with success. If I can help everybody else, and most people who go into the helping professions have experienced some things, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And I believe we go through those so that we can help, because we have a level of empathy that is really, really high. So I didn't see it as another thing and another punishment. It, however, opened up the closet and everything started to pour out. So it felt so overwhelming because I didn't deal with those things appropriately, all those years. It was like you're in a fight or flight survival mode for so many years. And you're like, we're on to the next. Let's get this. I'm a survivor. I got this. You're not thinking about any of that. You have on your warrior hat. You have on your shield, the shield of protection from God, and you like, I'm doing what I'm going to do. I ain't dealing with it. But when something happens, if you don't deal with it, something will happen in your life that will cause you to sit down and deal with it, especially if you ask God, like, what's your plan for me? I can't authentically help so many people the way God needs me to do it if I have not dealt with my own traumas and my own, things that I've dealt with and experiences. And then, of course, being a mental health provider, now you got the vicarious trauma of all the people that you're dealing with. I've had clients come in the office and bring photos of the deployment sites with bodies.
Wow.
And wounds and gunshots and blood and like, just, hey, they must trust me to bring in the bring in the pictures. But yeah, like over the year, like all of that starts to build up and you don't realize it, again, because you're so busy, on the outer. You're not thinking of really the inner. You're teaching it. And yes, I'm meditating but I'm not really getting deep. And so it's not until that happened, that's when it was like, oh, these things did happen. I thought I needed to hide them though. I thought I needed to hide them because I thought if I was authentic, like you wouldn't trust me. You wouldn't, and then I realized now, like everybody's not every, but a lot of people have gone through a lot of things.
Yeah.
So whether it's the top of the top or what someone would deem as whatever, as far as society is concerned. Yeah. And I realized that, wow, everybody and people I identify more with you when you're honest and you're authentic with them. So that's when you'll start to see the blessings flow, because your tribe will see you and they'll be right there.
Yes. And so crazy when you are being your authentic self, sometimes society makes you feel like you're not normal and you need to be like other people.
Yeah.
And you have to stay aligned and be in your authentic self, because there's people out here that's not their authentic self. And they're trying to make you feel and dim your light as though you shouldn't be that person.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing that you are being your authentic self and you're giving all that you have, because that's what makes you very unique and special.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And I try to be very authentic. I don't feel like I come out on social media on the days when I'm just bedridden and I can't even move because I'm in so much pain, but at the same time, I really do try to tell people, don't, and I said this several times, don't believe what you see on social media and in the news, because they're only showing you a glimpse, so people think, oh, she's all over the place. Here's the thing. If I do this interview with you or I do a recording, guess what? I cut it up and you have clips that last for beyond when I'm even going to be in this realm. Yeah. So it looks like, oh, they're doing so, but you can spend 1 hour and you can have content for several weeks. So I teach people to really live and walk in that authenticity. and to live the life on your terms. So if you do have invisible disabilities or anything like that, there are all these resources that we didn't have when we were coming up. We didn't have computers
No.
coming up. I think we had the brother typewriter. What were they? The word processors or something like
Yes.
that. And
Yes.
so, you wrote it out by hand, your papers out by hand first, and then you typed them. So wait a minute, you have computers, you have all these other programs. Now you have, like Grammarly and all these things that can edit your work. Wait a
Mhm.
minute now.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what will be useful for you for walking in your divine calling.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, as a founder of Blissful Life Consulting and the Malaysia Harrell Foundation, what vision do you hold for both of these platforms?
Oh, so the vision that I have, and the team, of course, uh, and the board of directors is basically to make mental health and holistic wellness resources not a luxury, but a human right for
Mm,
people to be able to receive those resources. And so the Malaysia Harrell Foundation is an extension of Blissful Life Consulting because we do provide those wellness and mental health solutions to individuals, groups, and organizations. But a lot of people don't have access to a lot of the resources. And so you're relying only on one form of healing that you think is available to you.
mm,
And the thing is, when I was coming up, I realized, my grandparents and my great grandparents, they never went to the doctors. They may go once a year, or we had to go because we were in school, we had to go once a year, to get a checkup and all of that. But how did they live till they were in their 90s and 100s when they didn't have the resources that we have today? Shouldn't we be getting more healthy?
yes, that is so true. I never really looked at it that way, but that is true because my grandparents and even my mother and them, we didn't go to the doctor like that.
Mhm.
We didn't, and they found holistic ways, and they had gardens and cooked and went out and shoot. My grandpa was going hunting for
Yes.
everything.
Yeah, so there's no pesticides and
Yeah,
all these things that they need to make things grow. And you were on a farm you've seen their gardens. How big was an apple? How big were the green beans? Were they like this size?
no, they were like
No.
the average of our like
They
palm of
were the
our hand,
average
smaller.
size. And so now, and then of course I've lived in Korea, so when you go to these international markets, you
Oh,
see what the
totally
size
different.
is supposed to look like, right?
Yes.
And you may get it at a better price too.
We lying.
So now you're exposed and you say, you're looking at Western medicine and you're saying, we want it patient centered. But here's the thing, you're the director, right? So you align with what God is telling you to do, you get the messages, but you're the director of your own health. If you leave that in someone, I don't care who it is, you leave it in someone else's hands, it's not going to be honest. You need to get guidance. You need spiritual guidance on that as well. But I remember when I was younger and I would get sick, they would put Vicks on all over us. They would put the heated towel on
Yeah.
top of it. You would have the vaporizer. You would have homemade chicken soup.
Yeah.
Anytime you had any type of rashes on you, they had this salve, like a homemade salve that they made. I'm like, I don't even know where to get the salve. No one uses that term anymore. But
No.
those were the things when you had losing hair, when the children didn't have hair, they would put coconut oil, straight virgin coconut oil on their hair. So when you just get back to basics, if you are in a position where you feel confused, you're like, I know there's something else, but I don't know what it is, take everything away and
Yes.
get back to basics. Do the things you have to do, but the things that are not necessary, get back to basics.
Yeah.
Your food, clothing, look, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? get back to those basics. I need food, clothing, and shelter. So what do I need to do? The things that I need to get those things. But at the same time, do I need to pay $300 for cable? That's what we realized too, because it was like, oh, I'm not going to be getting this paycheck anymore. You paying $300 for cable? If you don't have money or your finances are not as good as you need them to be, then you should not be watching TV anyway.
Girl,
You should be in the books. You got YouTube. You could get Netflix. You can pay for the $20 or $13, whatever it is a month. But there's no way. So when we say I don't have it, when you take a step back, you realize you do.
Yes.
What am I paying for that I don't actually need?
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you are a business owner and you have all these programs that you have to pay for, some of them are necessary, but some of them, if you have Canva and you're not using it every day or like often, then you don't have to pay for Pro every month. Just pay for it when you need it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's so easy. I mean, I'm making it seem easy, but I'm saying when you look at it,
disciplining yourself.
You just take a step back and say, what do I actually need? I'm a member of 10,000 organizations, but I don't even have time. And time is that's your wealth. That is your commodity, is your time and your health. And so, okay, you're doing it for status, you're doing it for connections. Maybe I'll just go to the annual event that they host. Right? So figure it out for you. But it's not until you take that real step back and get in the frame of mindfulness, you get in a frame of connection. That is when you start to realize, wow, I'm so rich right now. And then you start to look at or support people and serve with, different charitable events or things that don't cost you anything, because you could give with your service as well. And you realize, oh my goodness, there's so many people that don't even have a tenth of what I have.
Mm-hmm. It's so important for people to internally know themselves and actually love themselves of who they are. Because I think as time go by, people collect identity from people that's in their lives, and they end up placing it in theirs when they have no business actually putting those people in their business.
Listen,
you got to separate all of that and figure out who you are. And I think a lot of people are suffering identity crisis on exactly knowing who they are from their mother's womb until now. And finding that time to just sit back and just start educating yourself and doing earthy things, humanizing yourself and doing normal stuff, it creates a whole different shine of light into your life for you to just continue to be yourself. Because a lot of people are at a spiritual warfare right now.
Yes.
Because they're dealing with the identity crisis and the things that they've done.
Yes.
And they need to sit back and reset and reboot and figure out who they are so that they can heal from these different things, because people aren't healing.
Yes.
They're just moving on with life and normalizing being traumatized when they need to normalize and healing in that form so they could become a better version of themselves.
Yes. And some people think they are, though, like you were saying, because they identify with someone else's version of it. So they'll say, oh, I'm getting all these self-care, I'm getting massages, I'm getting my face done, I'm getting, whatever that is. And they think that's what it is. It's more outside. But you're right. It's internal. It's not external. The external is going to look good when you feel good inside. You can look pretty and people not feel like you're pretty. You know what I'm talking about? Like your energy is not pretty. And so, that's the mask. That's when like you look this good and you're this blessed, but you're this mean. That's when like, okay, no, they're not going deep internally.
And that comes with like, when it's trending, when girls say I'm living my soft girl life.
Yes.
It's like you're living your soft girl life, but you're taking the image of another woman living her soft girl life.
That's right.
It is your soft girl life? Like, what do you define that to be? Because it may be you being out in nature, hiking or something. It's like you have to figure out yours.
You do. And that's when when you're in nature and we talk about grounding, which you put you go out, you put your feet on the ground. That's what I did when I was healing too. Of course, I can't be out in the sun too much and them ants get to you, but they have grounding mats as well. You know, they have all different things now. But it's when you're close to nature. Just think about it. God created the heavens and the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not inside your house. You know, because so we're not getting the vitamin D, we're not getting the fresh air, you know, and so like you said, we got it when we talked about getting back to basics. Those are things that cost zero.
Yes.
So it's not about how much money I spend on myself. Because and it was, you know, it was interesting. I developed a rash one time, some rashes on my skin when I lived in Hawaii. Now, Hawaii is one of the most beautiful places to live in the whole wide world when I was stationed there. And, you know, in the military, you have to be like fit, right? We were doing runs with the whole base. You know, I was doing half marathons every single month, and I was doing a like 5K every week. On top of the ones for the military that we had to do. So I didn't like running. So I thought, oh, I better start running, because you get these medals, they give you pineapples, t-shirts, all kind of fun gifts. And it's like a community, you know? And so I started doing that. But when I went to the practitioner there, and they were off base, so they were, you know, part of Hawaii, and they're more tribal there. And she said to me, she said, "What are you eating?" So I was like, oh, I changed my entire diet to sugar-free things, you know? And so I was eating so much aspartame. And she was like, you know, it's a carcinogenic and all these things. Cause I thought, well, I'm just going to be skinny. I can have sugar-free cookies, you know? And again, it was getting back to basics of your food. Cause you talked about how you had, you know, your grandparents had their, you know, their different gardens and things like that. And so it was just basic things. But one of the things she said to me, I was like, I spend so much on stress management. I'm getting all these massages, because, you know, there were a lot of things that you could do and pay for and get. And she goes, instead of paying for stress management, why don't you just manage your life? What?
Ooh,
what do you mean? So it's like you going in the fire every day and you're burning yourself.
Oh,
and you're coming out and you're getting treatments with aloe. You're getting these beautiful aloe treatments, but you're going back in the fire every day. We don't think about that, right?
No, you was stuck.
I didn't think about it. I'm like, manage my life. What you mean? I gotta do this job. I have to do this. It's stressful being active duty and seeing patients and all the other things we have to do. You got 10 jobs. So it was interesting.
I bet it was. I was stuck.
Yeah.
So what's a moment in your entrepreneurial journey that really tested your faith and ultimately led you to breakthrough?
On my entrepreneurial journey, I started my company in 2017. And like many entrepreneurs, you know, you don't have the blueprint like when you go in the military and everything is a standard operating procedure and every kind of guidance that you have and the laws. You don't, there are some, right? You know, you're structural, but if you don't get connected with a team or a mentor or a community, it can be very, very challenging. And so, you know, being part of communities, having my own coaches, and then I coach a lot of my coaches are coaches, or a lot of my clients are coaches as well, or they have communities, they're community leaders. I think the biggest thing for me with the challenge was the identity shift that we were talking about. You feel fraudulent.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I'm gonna be honest, even though I started the business in 2017, that doesn't mean I know every single thing, about business. So it's a matter of humbling yourself
It is.
to be a student again. And I think we should be a student in all areas. Just because I'm a subject matter expert in one topic, that doesn't mean I'm still not learning. You have to do continuing education credits every single year. You have to take ethics every single year. I just hosted an ethics course on bringing spirituality into practice. And it's interesting because the laws, you're like, but you still have to take it. You still have to take it every time you get licensed. So I think we should incorporate that level of humility and just being a learner, a student of life, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a speaker, an author, whether you are in corporate, whether you're in the government, wherever, nonprofit, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, just being humble, being a student, letting my clients know as well, but I realize even when working with the people that have, mentored me, everybody's still learning because the new technology that's coming out, once you have a pain point, somebody's going to develop something for that pain point in 5 seconds. And maybe it's going to be you. Maybe you're the person that's going to bring this new tool, to market that is going to support other people. But I think that has been because, you go through the ups and downs of, learning and that learning process. But I think, just that identity shift, to say that I'm no longer serving in this capacity, but I'm actually serving in my own divine calling. And so I don't know if you want to, I hate the terminology because you have this expectation. If you say entrepreneur, then it's this. If you say spiritual healer or whatever, then it's this. I hate that, as far as the labels are concerned. But I am a person who is being obedient to my calling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that too, how it's like divided and separated when you need a spiritual advisor when you in an
Yeah.
entrepreneurship journey,
Yes, you do.
because the many things that you go through as far as like dealing with people, personalities, you start to learn personalities without a person even speaking. You
Yeah.
be like, wait a minute. And it becomes a lot, and it affects your mental health a lot as
It
well
does.
when it comes to that. I know on certain levels of spirituality, I had to tap into it more when I had a nonprofit organization
Mm-hmm.
and I was being attacked in different forms. It could be
Mm-hmm.
from the children, the parents,
Yeah.
political, just different things like that. Because when you start to make change and they start to see you're gaining so much power, you
Mm-hmm.
start to get attacked
Yeah.
because they want you to do the bare minimum, but they don't want you to do the full aspect of you.
Right. Right. You can't. You got to stay in this
Yeah,
certain place. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like and it affects your mental health sometimes because I was so fresh in and I was so young in my early 20s, and it's like, man, I'm really being attacked for doing something so good. But
Yeah.
it's like you really have to shift things and start knowing who you are, and it'll help you a lot more to navigate through situations like that for you to be able to verbalize things in a different form.
Yeah. Who you are and whose you are. Because
Yes.
now, with my book, God Has My Six, that's exactly what I really talk about because knowing whose you are. So it doesn't matter what you do. You got to take that up with him.
Yep.
If you try to do something, it's going to come back on you. Just be clear. You are working so hard to bring negativity, and it's actually going to catapult this other person in a positive light. No matter, even if it seems like it's a detour. So even if people have done things to me, right? But again, I don't give that any energy now. I'm
Yep.
like, thank you for helping me. Thank you for
Yes.
being part of my life. Thank you for helping me. Maybe there was something I needed to learn in my 20s that now, in whatever age I am now, I'm what they say, clock it. My
Clock
niece
it.
told me, clock it. I'm clocking it right all automatically now because I'm
Yes.
spiritually aligned and I could feel it. So when clients, when you get new clients or you're working partnerships, you already know, you have this level of discernment. And
Yes.
it's so high now
Yes,
that it comes so quickly. And I'm
it
like
does.
listening, like, dang, everybody,
It's so scary.
yeah. But God's like, no, I'm going to give you tenfold. I'm going to give you double for your trouble.
Yes.
You don't have to negotiate your rates. You don't have to negotiate what your worth is, for people who don't believe that you're worthy anyways. And
Yes.
so I'm excited about it. Even if I have a call and somebody doesn't book or whatever, I'm excited about it. Maybe I've given one gem, but or one door has closed. That's great, because now it opens the door and it leaves room and takes out the clutter for the things that you don't need for
Yes.
now when you're going to be doing something so high. But in that realm, I always realize too is, you tell people some things, but when you're, really working on things and you're trying to get clarity yourself, it's really good not to tell everyone,
Yes.
because they haven't seen the vision that God has given you, and they don't believe it can be done. And some of the things that I've been given for a vision, I don't even always in my waking mind, in my human mind, believe that I could do it either. I'm always doubting, but it's that spiritual knowledge that says, okay, this is what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. And, maybe I need a lot of money to do it, to provide these services to people. But again, when you walk in your calling, it's going to come and you don't have to worry about how.
You don't. You
Yeah,
don't. It's a breath of fresh air.
it is.
It definitely is.
Because before I used to be like, I gotta, because in the military, like, you have to do these things. You got benchmarks. So
Mm.
most jobs, most corporate, you're going into leadership positions, you have benchmarks. By this month, you got to know how to do this. By this month, by this year. And then, in order to get to supervisor or team lead, you got to do this, right? So I would have it by a deadline, dates. Now, I do use, the model of the 12-week year, but also I realized that, because sometimes you'll start to think, well, I didn't accomplish all these things, so I failed. And that's not necessarily the case. So I think it's very important to, align and ask God when that's supposed to happen, and not you thinking I got to have these things done, because that's what I was doing. Even with my book, like my book, I wanted it out way before now.
Mhm.
And God said, no, here's some more information and experiences that I need you to put in it, but I didn't experience it yet. So I
Wow.
was going back and putting more things in there that I thought were important, for people on their healing journey. So,
Yes. So
mhm.
speaking of your book, God
Yeah.
Has My Six, what inspired you to write it, and what do you hope readers to take away from it?
Yeah. So my book, God Has My Six, and I'll just tell you a little bit about what God Has My Six means, because everybody always asks that. So in the military, when we're talking about direction, we use the clock as our sense of direction, because you can't tell the enemy like, oh, the enemy's in back of me or whatever, or I need you, so you use that in law enforcement to say, what time, where someone is located. So God has my six mean God has my back. And even when you are going through strife, you are going through that dark tunnel, that deep season, that valley, then you know that no matter what, even when the people around you who love you, or you don't feel like they're supporting you because they don't understand, God always is there, and God always has my back. And so that I want people to know that God has your back no matter what. And it's a teaching memoir. It's about my story of my near-death experience and overcoming that, but it's also a blueprint for transformation and for healing. And so it has some really, really insightful, great nuggets that some are evidence-based, and some are some of the things that I've done for myself to help me to overcome and get on the other side.
Wow. That is amazing. How did you feel like in a process of writing that? Did you find like, wow, is this me? This is how I feel? Sometimes the clarity comes different when you actually
Yeah.
let everything out. It's like journaling for real.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because of the topic, it actually felt pretty traumatic. So when people are going down that back alley to relive their experiences, it's actually very challenging. You know, we think now if you writing something like one of these fun little, I used to read all those like Black romance books back in the day, you know what I mean? And you're like page turning. It's not like that at all. It is very different because, again, if you're coming from an authentic perspective, then you want the reader, you don't want to traumatize them. I've read some memoirs that are, I think it was Viola Davis's. Hers was very triggering for me because I was reading it when I was in such darkness. So I would be clear. So as a clinical professional, I want to make sure that I don't traumatize people on my journey. So that was what's taken a long time too, is to make sure that, you know, I'm being responsible from a clinical perspective when putting the information out there. And so I actually am helping several people do their memoirs. And so I'm, you know, giving them the tools and guiding them as they're going through it and they're being triggered by the different experiences. Because some people, especially like myself, because I have people do this exercise where they write down, you know, so many events that have happened in their life. And you're like, oh my goodness, I made it through all of that.
Man.
All those things. If I listed all the things that have happened to me, I wouldn't even know how I'm sitting here with you today. I did the exercise myself, but if I put it out there of every single thing that's happened to me, you would look at me like, how are you here? How are you doing what you do? Because I would probably just want to be on a beach somewhere, living the rest of my life.
Yeah. Who already know the feeling. That it was designed to take you out, but you kept going.
That's right.
Ooh, look at you.
Yeah, and you too. Like, everybody has been through so many things, but we're here to bear witness to that.
Yes.
We're here to acknowledge it. We're here to give a safe space for ourselves and others to be able to commune and to let you know what the reality of life is and not what you see on TV.
Yes.
You know, but it can be so glorious and beautiful, but you just got to take all those things out, all the expectations out, take them all out. And what I realize is when the people who try to be perfect, you know, they redo their entire face, they do so much. And then you're like, you were so beautiful before you did all that. Did you realize it? You know?
Yeah.
And when because I had Bell's palsy at one time too. And so, you know, people told me all the time growing up, you're so beautiful. And I wanted to be a model and all this. And I really think I took it for granted because when I had Bell's palsy, it was like,
wow.
You know what I mean? So now I'm like, I look good every day, you know, and some people hate you for that. I mean, they don't like it, but I'm telling you, because if you don't acknowledge it, you can lose it in 1 minute. You can lose it in 1 second. So the people you don't, I don't know how I really look. I'm overweight. I'm this, I'm that. You could lose it all where you're bedridden. You can't even get up and people got to take care of you. You better do, or even when I was in, you know, on my deathbed and it was like, I never learned to swim.
Man.
You know, little things that you could do. You can learn how to swim now, no matter what age. So I haven't yet. That's something because I had so many surgeries. I didn't want to be, you know, in no kind of water, you know, not getting any kind of infections or anything like that. But eventually that's the next course.
Amazing. Yeah. So tell me, if any woman or man that's listening today feels broken, stuck, unworthy, what's the very first step that he or she can take towards their own soul aligned transformation?
I think the biggest thing for people is to, again, take a step back and ask for guidance from the divine, from God, because if you don't, you'll be seeking things outwardly and you'll get messages from people based on their perspective. Your assignment is different from anyone else's, even if it's similar to someone else's, it's completely different. And so being able to hear from the divine. A lot of people who come to me and who, even our mental health clients, for my practice, they say I no longer feel spiritually connected. That's your issue. So
Yeah.
work on that first. It's just being still, asking for guidance, prayer, meditation. That's it initially. If you don't have a million hours to do it, you can do it in 5 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have their journals, some people do Bible study. Everybody does something different. Take that time for you. You could be walking outside while you're doing it. You don't have to sit down somewhere. You could be outside walking in nature. So do what it is to get still. And that's the first step. And you'll see that once you get clarity and you start to move on that and take action on and be obedient, then you're going to start to see everything shift and things be given to you in a way that you would never even expect it. And it's exciting to see.
It is, and it
Yeah.
feels good. It feels damn good.
Yes. It feels so good.
Yes. So, where can listeners connect with you, learn more about you, your work, your programs, and foundation?
Yes, thank you. So I'm on most of the social media platforms, primarily on Instagram, H Harrell, and of course I'm on TikTok. I'm not really a TikTok person, because sometimes I feel like people's mouths just kind of say anything they want to say, and that's kind of weird to me. Because it's like where I came from, you would never do that in somebody's face, but online, people, and so you have LinkedIn, of course. And we have our websites, MalaysiaHarrell.com, BlissfulLifeConsulting.com, and MalaysiaHarrellFoundation.com. So you can check it out. The links are in my bio and on those different platforms as well. And so just getting connected, and of course you'll be able to see the different things I'm appearing at, and I do workshops as well. So if you're interested in attending any of those, then those are opportunities for you. And I just love creating space for people and doing retreats. I'm having a retreat coming up in November 10th through 12th in the DMV area, about 2.5 miles outside, or 2.5 hours outside of the DMV or DC area. And so just creating that space. And for the coaching, I work with high achieving women who want to go from mere success to soul fulfillment. So if you feel like you're successful, what society deems successful, and you're not moving towards soul fulfillment and knowing what your divine assignment is, then I really love tapping in and working with individuals who are looking for that path.
That is amazing.
Mhm.
That is a super amazing. Well,
Thank
thank you so much, Malaysia, for being on my podcast show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you, Yvette, and thank you for all of the work that you are doing as well, because I know how challenging it is with technology and doing all of this. People think it's easy and it's cute, but it's like, why am I doing this? Sometimes you don't really see the fruit of your labor until a little while later. So,
That is so true.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Life Her Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and listen to Life Her Podcast audio on all major platforms.